Hi, my name is Emily Griffin. I am a senior art therapy preparation major who enjoys watercolor painting and printmaking. I don't always take myself very seriously as an artist. As a matter of fact, a year ago, I wouldn't have even called myself an artist. Transferring to Carlow after getting my associates in psychology, I was able to build up my skills as well as my confidence. Back in high school, I began to enjoy chalk pastel. So, my first semester here at Carlow, I tried to remind myself what I like about making art, and I went back to my roots. Then, for my Drawing 2 final last spring, I did a series of paintings to present like a children's storybook. I chose to tell the story of how I found my dog Lulu. Let's take a look. The cover is kind of silly. Whenever Lulu gets really excited, we call her Tater. So this is her tatering through the Christmas tree and into our lives. The characters at the bottom say Jungwa Go, which translates to China Dog. In 2014, my boyfriend and I studied abroad at Shenzhen University in China. It was a few weeks before Christmas, and we decided to go out and buy a Christmas tree and decorate to make the most of our holiday away from home. When I got outside of the building to leave, I saw this puppy running around. I shouted to my boyfriend to hurry up and come see this cute pup. And then we went about our quest for a tree. When we got back, it was dark. We went into our building, and the puppy was sitting right by the elevator. She almost came into the elevator with us. When we got upstairs and set our stuff down, I turned to him and said, "We need to go get that dog." When we got back downstairs, she was no longer sitting there. We went outside by a small parking lot. She was sitting on a pile of dirt and let me pluck her like a flower. I found my new BFF, and we have been inseparable ever since. I will note on this picture of myself that self portraits are always something that I've struggled with. So I would like to use this painting as a reference point and improve upon that skill further. We took the puppy upstairs and we fed her some chicken and rice on the bathroom floor. A few months later, we all flew home to America and lived happily ever after. I did another dog portrait last June, shortly after my boyfriend's family dog, Copper, passed away. I titled it Good Boy. I used complementary colors, yellow and purple, to make it more unique. I even hid an image of a second dog in the fence. My next painting series, which I produced, is my grief series this past fall. My idea was to do the stages of grief as tarot cards that also represent the Amazon forest fires. I'm inspired to be the person I needed when I was younger. I need to do grief work because grief has shaped a large part of my identity. Tough times are sometimes hard to talk about, but it is easier to express intense feelings in other ways, which is why I believe art therapy is beneficial. My generation and the ones after me are also grieving the loss of our planet, our wildlife, and our futures. We were handed a broken promise. Now we must use our hands, our voices, and our vote to solve the crisis. In my grief series, I address the frustration of what it's like to watch the world around you go up in flames. I use watercolor paint and reduction printing because I like not knowing what the result will look like until the end. In art and in life, there are some things that are out of our control, and we have to make the best out of what we get. That's why I also pour Coca-Cola, coffee, rubbing alcohol, and mouthwash on my paintings. Making art without some risk gets boring to me. I know I could either ruin it completely or get something with a very unique aesthetic, and this makes me feel free. The reason behind some of the images I chose, besides the obvious fire representing anger, in denial, the figure is seen walking away from the fire instead of dealing with it. For this, I reference photos all from the Amazon fires, and I can take you back through the stages over and over, because sometimes the grief cycle keeps playing on repeat. It was hard to think of what symbols to use for bargaining, so I asked myself, what do people bargain for? They bargain for more time. I decided an hourglass reduction print would be perfect, because I only had one chance to do it right. For depression, I chose an image from the Amazon of these giant lily pads they have there, and then I added my own gloomy touches. Acceptance was a challenge too, because do we accept what is happening? No, but we can accept our own hand that we play in it. I've noticed in my work I tend to do a lot of animals in nature, because I take joy in the natural world. This is my reduction print of a red panda. Going along with my theme from last semester, I believe the red panda is endangered, and I would like to make more prints of endangered animals like this one to put into a book. This is the first linoleum block print I did of a sunflower and a skull. I was really excited about printmaking, and I enjoyed making all of the textured scratches in the background. Here is that same print again, but in blue. These are my etching and collagraph prints I made on cincture board and then printed on thin vellum paper. That's why in the photo I show it against the window, because I like how it looks with the light shining through it. Here is the actual board I carved, poked holes in, and collaged on. It was quite the time-consuming process to carve all those holes as grains of sand. Currently, I'm enrolled in life drawing. Since I've always struggled with self-portraits and drawing other people, I'm excited to finally be able to strengthen those skills. Here is an example of an anatomical sketch out of my sketchbook. This is a scapula bone, done in my sketchbook in charcoal and chalk pastel. My next painting series I plan to do is my vanity series. For this series, I'm going to be taking selfies that people post on Facebook and Instagram, and then changing the subjects in the selfies into their skeletons, and imagining what that would look like if skeletons were taking selfies. I've also done some volunteer work. I feel that volunteers brighten lives. Last June, I led an art activity for Jefferson Hospital outpatient. These ladies were stroke patients. I brought mandala magnets to paint, crayons to melt, but my main activity for them was the marbleized shaving cream art. This past fall, I then volunteered doing weekly OMA sessions at the Jewish Association of Aging. We did art with two groups, residents in the morning, and then in the afternoon we worked with outpatient people in a day program for early dementia. I am now figuring out my next steps, working on applying to graduate programs and real grown-up jobs after I get my bachelor's this December. I really see myself working with at-risk adolescents, but I'm open to working with many groups of people to see where I fit in best. Although this is a very nerve-wracking time, I am very excited to see where my journey with art takes me. Thank you.